Hello fellow duelists, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be showing you a new kind of deck profile on this channel, and something that I did kind of break down and finally decide to do, and that is I'm going to be showing you a Winged Beast deck profile for the Yugi-Kaiba format. Yes, that is right, Yugi-Kaiba format. So if you're not aware of what Yugi-Kaiba format is, it is a set based primarily on the first booster set, which was Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and for the first two starter decks, which was all the way from March of 2002 till June of 2002 with the release of Metal Raiders. So normally in this format, before I get started, they usually will have cards like La Jin, Neo the Magic Swordsman, Battle Ox, and we'll have Summon Skull. The reason I'm going to be excluding that because I wanted to do more of a gimmick deck, because let's face it, honestly, there's not going to be anybody really playing this format around here, and that I even know of. And I know my wife is not going to be playing this format either, because this is way too slow of a format. This is literally trading one-offs with each other and basically using cards like Trap Hole, Reinforcement, Fissure, and then the Power 5. So the reason I'm choosing a Winged Beast deck was there were 4 different types of Winged Beast decks that were released in the LOB and the Yugi-Kaiba starter decks, and I wanted to utilize all of them as much as I could. Unfortunately, you are not going to be able to have a full Winged Beast deck. I did have to have Gaia the Dragon Champion, because Gaia the Dragon Champion is a dragon wind monster, which does work with the deck quite well, and with Mountain can make it a 2800 attack. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But I just want to say thank you so much for everybody who watches my videos and who has always subscribed, and who haven't subscribed yet, just taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. You guys are great, you rock, thank you so much. And if you ever want to post comments in the comment section, you always can. This is a great place to just chill out, and I just want to say thankful. I'm forever grateful for you guys always watching my videos. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And you can see I have the Kaiba classic format type of playmat, the original Yu-Gi-Oh logo, Shonen Jump trading card game, and you have Kaiba with his majestic Blue Eyes White Dragon on one side, and then his XYZ Dragon Cannon, menacing XYZ Dragon Cannon on the other side. So I've got 3 copies of Skull Red Bird. Skull Red Bird is the biggest beater in this deck. This is a 1550 attack monster, and it's the strongest winged beast that came out of the format. So if you have a follow win, which is a equip card, can increase its attack by 300 points, making it stronger than a Legend. And then if you just have Mountain on the field, can increase its attack by 200 points, making it stronger than Neo and Battle Ox. The reason I'm going to be using Follow Wind is strictly for winged beast types, and the way LOB works and the way Yugi-Kaiba format works, the only equip spells that were out during this time were cards that would equip to either the type or the archetype of the monster. So it only had like Sword of Dark Destruction, Elf Sleight, and Invigoration for Earth, Dark, and Light types, and then it also just had for the regular types like dragons, plants, zombies, you know, winged beast, whatever. That's all pretty much all it had. So this is going to be your strongest beater. And then we're going to be playing 3 Typhoons. Typhoon is a 1200, 1400, so it can get a little bit of a boost. And this is the second strongest card in this format. And then we have 3 copies of Fiend Reflection number 2, which is the only non-wind type monster in this deck, is 1100, 1400. So like I said before, I didn't want to do the stereotypical Yugi-Kaiba format deck profile. I wanted to make a classic one that was just based off of Winged Beast, just for me personal preference. So that is why I'm choosing a lot of these cards. This is going to be 1100, 1400, which isn't bad because its defense is actually pretty high. And then lastly, the weakest one in this deck, which is Kurama. I wanted to give Kurama a spot because this guy is just hilariously funny, like in terms of its attack. Obviously, you're not going to be using him because he's 800 attack, but to me, it doesn't really matter. It's just about having fun, and he is at least a Winged Beast wind type, and he is the lowest one, so unfortunately, he would only be 1,000, and then with Follow One, we could be 1,300, but yeah. Then we have 2 copies of Gaia the Fierce Knight. Gaia the Fierce Knight is in here strictly for the Gaia the Dragon Champion. You also have ways to get it out using Change of Heart or Soul Exchange. And then speaking of tribute monsters, Curse of Dragon, which is a 2000 beater, which isn't bad. Obviously, you're going to be playing Summon Skull because Summon Skull is the one tribute 2500 monster, which is a lot better in my opinion. But I wanted to keep with the theme, so I'm going to be using Curse of Dragon. So that's going to be it for the monsters. As you can see, it's only 16. And the main reason is you're not going to be running a lot of monsters in this format because monsters, it's mainly making up of your spells and traps that's going to help protect you, and cards like Trap Hole, Reinforcements, Wabaku, and using cards like Fissure. So then we're going to be playing 2 Mountains. I did want to use 3 of these, but I only had room for 2. Mountain is a great tech card. because it increases dragon, winged beast, and thunder type monsters. So mainly that's what you're going to be using it for in this format. 2 copies of Follow Wind. If you have 3, you can add another 3 if you wanted to cut something for it. Follow Wind will increase the winged beast monsters by 300, which, like I said before, winged beast, the way the format works, the only equip cards available were cards that strictly were for attribute or for type. The first ever equip cards for like universal monsters and stuff in the game wouldn't come out until Metal Raiders. Then we've got 3 copies of Fissure. This is probably one of the best spell cards in the game. Fissure will destroy it. And since you're destroy a face-up monster with the lowest attack on your opponent's side of the field, and since mainly in this format you are only trading 1-ofs, this is going to be happening quite a lot. Obviously, you're going to use this to destroy the legend, summon Skull, and whatever. I would not use this on a weak monster. Only use this on monsters that you deem necessary, like Wall of Illusion, which can just get rid of your momentum, or even cards like Aquamador, Spirit of the Heart, Mystical Elf, and Giant Soldier of Stone. And then 2 copies of Polymerization, mainly in here for the Guy the Dragon Champion. And then for the Power 5, okay, so Raigeki, Dark Hole, Change of Heart, Monster Reborn, and Pot of Greed. Okay, the reason why these are called the Power 5 is no matter what kind of deck that you're playing in this format, this is one of the most important, these are the most important cards to have, because these are the most powerful cards that can change the tide of the game. Raigeki, Dark Hole are going to be destroying your opponent's monsters. Monster Reborn is going to be bringing back a monster that was sent to the graveyard, so if your opponent has like Summon Skull or something, great way to be able to grab that. Pot of Greed to be able to draw you 2 cards, and then Change of Heart. Change of Heart, ironically, is probably the weakest one out of all 5 of these, because most veteran players know by now that Change of Heart is great, but it's not like essential like the other 4. But it's still not a bad card by any means, whatsoever. And then we've got 1 copy of Soul Exchange. Soul Exchange is a great tech card to add in this deck, because since I am running Gaia and Curse of Dragon, I don't want them to sit in my hand if I don't have Polymerization. If I have to use them, this is a great way to use it, because you can't conduct your battle phase, but this is going to allow you to actually use the cards in your hand. So then for traps, there were only, I believe, 4 traps in this format, and I'm using 3 of them. So we're going to have 3 Trapples. 3 Trapples going to take out your opponent's Legend, Battle Ox Neo, and Summon Skull. That's mainly what they're in there for. 3 copies of Reinforcement. It's kind of hilarious to see Reinforcement in decks, because, but it's honestly really good because of it being high 500 attack, and it's a trap, so if your opponent attacks, you can spring it on him, play it, and then you gain 500 attack, and you're obviously going to win over the opponent's monster with using that. And then lastly, 3 copies of Wabaku, because this is going to protect your monsters for not being destroyed, and you're not going to take any battle damage this turn. Great way to be able to stall your opponent. And then lastly, just 3 copies of the Gaia the Dragon Champion, because like I said, I do play Gaia the Dragon Champion in this deck because I have Curse of Dragon and Gaia the Fierce Knight. This is basically a replacement, because until Harpy Ladies came out, this was pretty much the strongest wind dragon type monster that you could have. If you wanted to have like Trihorn Dragon or Blue Eyes or something, that's totally up to you, but I wanted to keep with the theme because it's a wind deck, and I wanted to keep it with being dragon type, like the dragon type, so it gains like 2800 attack. So other than like a Blue Eyes, obviously this is going to be swinging over Summon Skull, and also since it is a special summon, you don't have to worry about cards like Trapple. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to do something a little different this time, because I, have been studying up on the format, and even though it's not one of my favorites, it's still something that I would like to actually be able to showcase, because it's generally can be fun if you're into like old school Yu-Gi-Oh, caveman Yu-Gi-Oh. Unfortunately, I'm not like super into it. I just wanted to at least build a deck to say that I had it, because I actually wanted to use a lot of the cards in the format, like Skull Redbird and Kurama and stuff, cards that don't usually normally get seen. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and with that, see you guys next time. Later.